Share my screen. I did get to talk the other day with Devin, who also got to attend the Southern Spark conference that we were there the June 11th and June 12th. Um, Feel free to ask him too on some of the resources that he either they gave sometimes QR codes or sometimes their slide decks and their presentations, but good many AI tools we hadn't heard of yet to try out, and a lot of good topics and seeing AI in different industries. And there's also if anybody wants to with like kids have a discussion or with families about like AI and ethics and everything, there was a free resource. I ordered it where it was like you can give a donation if you want, or you can get it for free on some cards that were kind of like little question cards that I just got the other day. This is from Module 3. Yeah, Bob that was creating the other ones hadn't finished what was further, and then whenever I had some library events and things, we were so even though y'all could work ahead and get to what everything that was in there in 3, they weren't fully formatted with like pictures and stuff added yet. So if you did work ahead to what was available, that is fine. We're just finishing catching up on the thing. Now y'all are going to be able to finish. Yeah, if you were wanting to finish in that 1 week a module at a time, once the other ones are sent, I mean it could be worked completely self-paced and everything, so you don't have to go over that time. So I know he's working on finishing those, but yeah, this is just catching up on the recordings that hadn't been added yet, so that you can go back now. If you've already read over the slides, you know for what I'm going over, then you can continue working self-paced on if the now IBM I was told by Dominica did give a time frame for completing like when you signed up for that free module, so it might have just been able to complete as much as you could in it, and if you didn't finish in the time, don't want anybody to have to pay for anything. I know that Devin finished the IBM AI certificate, so that was giving y'all that on top of it. And then you have these modules, and then the professional development for y'all that Jessica Hayes has been putting in there. Of course, since y'all have vast education experience and have been working everything, it's going to be things that you already know. That's more for people that need that help and getting a job and everything. So I mean, if there's anything you want to get a different take on or a refresher, but I don't want that to seem condescending just because it was shared with y'all. They were sharing that with everybody. So it's not that anybody needs the professional development, and that was more for the people that were going into the workforce. So you'll see those have been added in. I think there's 3 lessons so far that were in for that. They were getting like some speakers and stuff, so that might be the interesting thing is to watch if there's a recording of video, or if you were or if they ever have a live call where there's a guest um on it. But yeah, the original timeline and getting the remaining lessons on there, that final week was really going to be module 8 was really just finishing up portfolio things and making sure that you're um either upskilling yourself with the work you're already doing, or if somebody was applying to another thing, is just putting it all into action. But yeah, we did start on May 18th. One, two, three. Yeah, so like up through July 10th, probably no later than that next week of 13th to the 17th, time for everybody to finish everything is kind of the timeline. And we didn't have class. If you saw the post on last Friday was a holiday for us for Juneteenth, and then we'll have July 3rd off for 4th of July since the 4th is on a Saturday. And then I told Jessica on the call tomorrow I have a couple and have travel for doctor appointments and everything, so I'm not going to have a live class, but y'all can work self-paced, but you don't have to get on a call or anything. But if there are any questions to email or text, I'm going to be working around my appointments. Okay, so this is NeXT Intellect Module 3, Lesson 4, Controlling How AI Presents the Information. Output formatting is the practice of controlling how an AI presents its answers to you. So just like if you ask a friend to give you directions as a list instead of a paragraph, you could do the same with AI and ask it to give you the response in a certain way. This lesson teaches you how to request formatted outputs like tables, lists, or step-by-step instructions. Ultimately makes it easier to read and use. Learning how to format AI output makes you more productive and helps you get exactly what you need. Workforce targets define output formatting and explain why it matters in real work. Identify 3 common output formats and when to use each one. Write prompts that request specific output structures from an AI. Recognize how formatting improves clarity and saves time. Apply formatting requests to solve a real workplace problem. Compare formatted versus unformatted outputs and explain the difference. And create and test a prompt that controls AI output structure. Key vocabulary in the lesson: format, structure, output, control, clarity, list, table, JSON, and markdown and delimiter. For these discussion points, the first one, we've already had a good many that were similar to it in connecting. So just on when you prompt somebody for information and comparing that the same to AI, the clearer, the better, such as giving somebody directions to get to like someone's house or something. 2, if an AI gives you a list of 10 job search tips, all in one paragraph, what's hard about reading it? So I did that, skipping to it. I told it to give us 10 tips in a paragraph. And then, of course, we don't have any spacing, and you're going to have to look for the end of sentences and points to see where the next ones are. So then, if we were to tell it to create it in a clean, easy to read list, okay, it went ahead and bolded um, the key tips and put everything in our list of what I had specified was the 10. So, of course, it's hard for us to read a chunk of text that doesn't have any sort of formatting to it. And then tables, checklist, numbered list in both school, work, personal life. Of course, going back to it's easy for us to see information that's formatted to the whatever it's the best way to format it and for us to be able to glean information from it. So, such as times that we put something in a pie chart or times that we have different sorts of graphs, like a line graph. And then, kind of like the example I showed, I did, if you didn't give a specific way to format it, and I said like a paragraph, or if I'd have said 10 tips, it might not have listed them out in the way that I wanted it to be. So go ahead and give it the parameters for like how long you want it to be, if you want it to be a numbered list, and anything like that. Today you will learn how to ask an AI to organize its answers in specific ways. You'll discover why formatting matters, see common formats used in real jobs, and write prompts that control how AI presents information. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to request exactly the format you need and save time reading and using AI responses. So output formatting is just telling the AI how you want it to organize and present its answer or the information. Instead of letting the AI guess, infer, and give you something that you're not looking for, give clear instructions about the structure. So if you're just wanting somebody to give you a general response, or does this need to be a full report, a checklist, so on. Without formatting instructions, an AI might give you information that's hard to scan or use quickly. So of course, formatting saves us time on, and you could use AI. I do that with like notes that take, even when it's like freehand notes in like a Word document or so that's not really formatted. It's just like sometimes like the thoughts and things you're working on, and how you could easily plug that into AI to organize everything. Um, I usually do for my daily work, have like checklist and things, and if I put my time in there when I'm working on something, I mean I could go into AI tool then to help make it look neat on what my schedule was like. So a lot of ways you could just use what you already were doing in AI to help kind of clean it up. There are tools too for if you did on paper and wrote down like your task and everything, you could always scan and upload the image of that. And of course, there's Document AI, anything like that. If you wanted to upload and document AI your employee handbook, and then be able to have it organize it in a way that's easier for you to understand and shorter. That would be a way to format like a large chunk of information into maybe more digestible pieces. So, of course, if you have a supervisor or manager asking for pretty much anything, they want information, such as a staffing plan. They don't want just a large paragraph that's not doesn't have space, easy to read, like a page of text. They're probably going to want to see some sort of formatting, whether it uses a table, if this is like an Excel sheet, spreadsheet with names, everything roles and dates, or have AI help you to format what needs to be shared into a presentation, like using Canva and AI, and are you doing like a slide deck? Students using it for school, say that they're doing like a novel unit and are wanting to be able to upload their notes, everything studying for the quiz. They're also working on an essay, whatever their final assignment is for it, being able to help list all the key facts from the text, gather everything together. So you can see it's both useful for personal life, students, and in the workplace. And formatted outputs are faster to read, easier to copy into other tools, and reduce confusion about what information is important. Common output formats: list. Of course, list arrange items in order, one per line, often with numbers or bullets. Use list when you need a series of steps, options, or items to remember. For example, if you're asking an AI for interview tips, a numbered list is clearer than a paragraph. Lists are useful in almost every job and take only a few seconds to read through. Tables, of course, organize information in rows and columns, such as a spreadsheet. Use tables when you're comparing multiple items or showing details like names, dates, and prices. A table might show job titles across the top and skills down the left side with check marks or ratings in each cell. Tables make it easy to find and compare specific information at a glance. Step-by-step and structured text, step-by-step format breaks a process into numbered or labeled stages. Structured text uses clear headings, sections, and white space to organize ideas. Use these formats when explaining how to do something, summarizing a complex topic, or presenting information that builds on itself. These formats guide the reader through content without overwhelming them. How to request a format in your prompt. Add one sentence to your prompt asking for a specific format. Examples: please format your answer as a numbered list. Organize this as a table with columns for name, role, and experience. And break this down into step-by-step instructions. Use simple, direct language and place the format request at the beginning or end of your prompt. The AI will understand and follow your instruction. So what was mentioned in the vocab, some advanced formatting, JSON and Markdown. So JSON and Markdown are structured formats used in tech and content work. JSON uses labels and braces to organize data, useful for storing information in systems. Markdown uses simple symbols like asterisks and dashes to format text to make it bold, italics, list, and headings. You don't have to memorize these, just know that they exist to whenever you want a more advanced output. Here's an example though. I got it to create for JSON and Markdown. So JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. And so it organizes things in key value pairs using braces and commas. So we see here in this example, you have like name, and the name is Jane Doe. Age, in this case, entered as 28. Location, Batesville, Mississippi. And then key components, the keys must be in quotes. Values can be, it means like we have text here, we have a number here that's not in quotations. And then Markdown, we notice it's using asterisks to make things, whether they're bold or italic. So the 2 makes it bold, 1 for italics, and 1 or 2 hashtags for headings here. Comparing formatted versus unformatted output. Unformatted output might read, the project took 3 months, had 5 team members, cost $50,000, and delivered 2 major features. The formatted version of this, and of course this could be spread out where it wasn't in like 2 lines, but separate each of these. But after our project duration, 3 months, team size could be the next 9. Notice the big difference of using the number instead of the spelling out, or for that's going to be easier for us to find those details. Money, of course, rather than writing out $50,000, having it with the dollar symbol. 2 major features. This formatted version is faster to scan, easier to reference, and looks more professional. In many jobs, formatted outputs are expected. In the next activities, you'll practice writing prompts that request specific formats and test them with an AI. You'll see how the same question produces different results based on how you ask. Then you'll choose the best format for a real workplace scenario. Remember, formatting is a simple but powerful skill that makes AI outputs more useful. Hey, I'm going to use Gemini for the guided build. So you could open up an AI tool with Gemini, or if you want to use ChatGPT. And then we will write and submit this prompt without a format request. So putting in, tell me 5 tips for improving productivity at work. I'm going to just copy it from that. Open up Gemini, have it for this new chat here, and paste that in there. Tell me 5 tips for improving productivity at work. And then we'll read the response. Notice how it's written. It might be in paragraph form or or using informal bullet points. Then we will write a new prompt after that with a formatted request. So this is 5 tips for improving productivity at work. Now, since we actually said 5 tips, that gives it a little more context to go ahead and separate things out with numbers. So that's not bad, but we might want it in a different format. Staying productive doesn't mean working until you burn out. It is all about managing your energy and focus more effectively. Here are 5 practicals. So we have our little intro for what it presented us and the 5 tips here. Now we could probably figure before putting another one if we just had, and I don't want it to have that context to that previous one. I'll do a new chat. Tell me how I can improve work productivity. Okay, without giving it a number limit. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 tips, but we also have like in a spreadsheet format here, and then a quick rule of thumb. So you see how it kind of just presented it how it thought best fit the answer, and that might not be what I was looking for. So now we could say, tell me 5 tips for improve as a numbered list. Anything else you want to add to that? And how about we change this to, because it did 5 a second ago, tell me 10 tips for improving productivity at work. Please format your answer as a numbered list. Okay, since I added the number for, we have 10, it's a numbered list. We also have, I told it to add sources for the tips, so it's telling us these are evidence-based tips for productivity, boosting it at work. So we have sources for each of these. Now, we did mention in another lesson about, of course, AI can hallucinate, meaning when it's wanting to give you an answer, there's times that it could just come up with something and present it as truth. So just because something gives you an AI tool gives you a source or a link you can click on going to it, you probably want to check and make sure that it's a real source. Because there have been like it can make up like a medical study or something to appease what you were asking for. And of course, it's more important if this was a very high stakes thing like dealing with somebody's health. Workplace tips, we might not want to go in and try to check out each of these sources. We could just use our general judgment on reading over them if they seem like a good tip or not. And then if we wanted to, we could type it in to enter it in as a table. That one prompt without us saying it gave us one like that. So if it didn't, that's how we wanted. And you could tell it like how many columns you want, how many rows, and so on. Then using that previous example for your lab, you'll choose a topic you're interested in or curious about, such as career paths in AI. Write 3 different prompts about your topic. One requesting a numbered list, one requesting a table, and one requesting step-by-step instructions. Open the AI tool of your choice and copy and paste the response into a document, then submit the second and the third prompt and review all 3 prompts. Highlight or underline the parts that show the formatting that you requested. Rate each format on a scale of 1 to 5 on which one was less clear to the most clear. Choose which format was most useful for your topic and write one paragraph explaining why. There is an optional challenge in here. Remember compatibility between AI tools. That if you were going to rewrite rewrite one of your prompts to request a format the AI doesn't support, you could see what it would do. So of course, if we were using like a document AI and then told it to like write a song, that's not compatible with what it does. Okay. Or if we told ChatGPT to write a song, it of course being text generation could definitely write you the lyrics to it. If they haven't added a music generation, Google has recently added that with Gemini, then it's not going to be able to generate actual music. So, meaning if that's what you intended, it's not going to be able to create a song. You would need to be using a tool that actually worked for that task. That will lead you to your portfolio artifact. Certification progress has common problems that you might face during the lesson and their solutions. Be sure to read over the best practices for each of the lessons. Your reflection journal. And that completes lesson 4 for module 3. I'm going to do a quick, probably 10-minute break before recording the next one. And that'll be, I'll go ahead and stop